Hello and good morning, everyone. Paul Tranny here for the kickoff of my series, Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to learn everything you need to know about Photoshop, at least everything to make you dangerous. So that is the goal. So good to have you here, Chad and RB and Ted and Fury and Emma. I want to wish you a warm welcome and good morning or good evening. Good to have you here. And I typically like to kind of have kind of like a theme around my daily creative challenges, loosely, basically. But I think the theme this year is going to be, or at least the next 2 weeks, is going to be all about growth, as you can see behind me. So the whole goal of these challenges is to have you grow as a designer or as a creative. So that is the idea. Again, it's going to go for 2 weeks. And yeah, it's all about growing your Photoshop skills. Wherever you're at in your journey, hey, I'm not here to judge. I just want everybody to be better by the end of these 2 weeks, right? So that's the whole idea. We're going to tackle clipping masks, as you can see, smoothing and cleaning up photos, sort of the one-touch magic button, as well as specific cleaning up, removing things mainly, distorting and transforming things. I'm going to show some examples of this as well. We'll deal with live shapes, so that's actually new in Photoshop, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And I love smudging, and I use Liquify a lot just because it's a blast. And neural filters is new as well. So that is the goal. Hopefully you guys are into it. I'm into it. So let's just kind of switch my screen, shall we? And I'm glad you like the animations. So again, here I am in Photoshop, and I'll kind of give you guys a quick overview. I'm going to actually just kind of sneak some of the designs or some of the creations that we'll make as well. You can see this is one that I just kind of like was working on last night, but if we take a quick peek, we could see just like a number of fun images that we'll work with over the course of 2 weeks, right? This is only 6, so there's actually 3 more that I could show as well. But again, you're going to learn all those magic tricks when it comes to even like selecting, for instance. Talk about selecting. Look at all these crazy animals in here, right? You would think this would take you forever to cut them out, and that's just not the case. So, yeah, so, yeah, so that's the idea. It's like, again, just sort of being able to quickly cut out animals, right? That's all that happened in here, and how to go from there. So let's actually convert this back to layers. Let's see this lovely horse. Let's delete this layer mask, and you'll learn a lot of these fun magic buttons. So if I did want to include this horse in this particular design, what I typically do is, since it's just a pixel layer, I'll open up the properties panel and I'll go right over here to remove background. I get it. We have select subject. So basically we've had a couple new technologies that have made it faster and faster and easier to cut things out. But now we have a one magic button that not only selects the object, but actually adds the layer mask as well. So we can see my layer right down here. Boop. Remove background. We click, right? And it'll at least get us 90% there. It almost got us to 100% of the way there. Look at that. Cut it out. Yeah, we have some of this that we need to work on as well. Like this spot. Yeah, I'd need to clean that up. But again, just some of these tips that I use a lot when it comes to creating. But I also don't want you guys to forget about just how to design, because once you can cut out all these animals, how do you make it an appealing composite? This one actually is not complete, by the way. This one needs we need to tie the colors together. It needs to have like, that's why I put a circle behind it, because otherwise these images are all floating. So I want to kind of teach you just some design fundamentals that will hopefully help your compositions. So if you do have things floating around, consider like putting it in a unit, like in this case, a circle to kind of ground it, or some sort of shape to kind of keep it grounded is the idea. And then have fun with it, like have things bust out of the circle, as you can see here, right? Tie it together with some more. I love using color lookups. Do you guys like color lookups? Huh, Megan? Good to see you, Megan. And Murray, what's up from Ontario, Brampton? I don't know where that is. But right in here, just trying different color lookups is what I typically do as well. I've been known to use the 2-strip look, right? So look what it does there. It just takes the teal and the pinks, right? So it keeps all these warm and cool colors because that's what you want to have. Again, back to sort of like design fundamentals. You want to have warm and cool colors is the goal. Know the rules and then also know how to break the rules, right? Because just because somebody tells you to do something, you need to know why they said it, and then you decide like why you want to go differently, because I'll get into that later. All right. So again, I love the lookups, right? Other little pro tips as well, like once I have this created, by the way, and again, welcome if you're new here. Love to welcome you and all that good stuff. I'm just happy to be here, guys. But what I typically want to do is I actually want to put it on my phone. So from there, once I create the design, I could go ahead and airdrop, and I know this is for Mac, and this is actually in your sharing menu on Mac. You can push to add to Lightroom photos. You can airdrop it. You could do a number of things. So once I create something, I usually push it to my phone and then stare at it for another 20 minutes and then realize it's horrible and then start again. Just kidding. But again, push it to, of course, airdrop. Add to Lightroom photos is what I'm selecting as well, because we're also going to do some Lightroom action as well. So that's the goal. Tweak this some more in Lightroom if we want. So here's this. This happens as well. And I'm glad when we run into these things, it's actually pretty straightforward. It's just it's a really large photo, Paul. You obviously didn't demo this beforehand. But again, there are some limitations. And honestly, I wouldn't really push this to Lightroom as my finished piece, because I have all these extra layers. So I would actually clean this up first and then send it to Lightroom and then work on it. But yes, we are going to be working in Lightroom a little bit as well, right? Jumping in here, whatever photo you might have. Yeah, magic buttons. We could do the lovely right up here, that auto button. See that right up here? I love things when they say auto. That's the first thing I try. I hit auto and it starts to balance that out, right? And I know I can increase the shadows. See what I'm doing there? Just increasing those shadows, bringing more of that color in there. We have the highlights as well. I can bring down the highlights and play with it accordingly, right? And I could just check out the presets. So I'll typically just kind of roll through these to see what looks good. This turquoise and red looks really good as well. Again, these are the big sequoias near the Russian River area. So that's the goal. So there's that. There it is. Guess what? We create what we want. We have this little export button. We can go ahead and export that out from there. Yeah, 200 megs, man. You don't even know the half of it. Don't get me started on file size. But again, these are daily creative challenges. I feel like I'm touching on a lot of like maybe advanced things, but this is just for people just like starting out as well, right? And it's like there are no dumb questions when we dive into this, right? We go to File, New. Like, what are the dimensions that I'm going to work with, right? And sure, it's going to depend on your output, right? A lot of times when you start out, you're going based on the photo that you've opened, that resolution. Okay, but again, if you just go File, New, you can take a look at the width, the height, the resolution, the number of dots, if you will, the DPI dots per inch. So 72, it's pretty low. It's for screen resolution. We can up that to 300, right? And that's more for print resolution. We have RGB color mode, which that's going to give us a larger range of color, right? If we drop this down, we can go to CMYK or some other thing, but we're not going to have as much color leeway as we do with RGB. So when you are just starting out, hey, you know what? Don't hurt yourself. just do 1080. You can do 1080 by 1080, and you're going to be able to post that to Instagram with no problem. Click create, and then we'll start creating that way. Okay. So hello, Michelle, as Sam says, and everyone. So by the way, like, it's good to keep in mind, you can always keep in mind your file size and all that good stuff. I typically do, by the way, even if I jump into any of these other ones, like this one, for instance, I can see behind me, let me just move me over, right down here, I can see the status of my file. So I can take a look at the document size, right? I can see the final size. The size it's at now, because it's caching all of those your history basically, but then it has also the file size, which is 51 megs, right? And we could always change that. So we can jump in here and say, hey, go to layer count. That's what I like to do. Okay, there's 20 layers in this. This is not that bad. Okay, this is just so fun. I have so many tips. It's just hurting my brain to talk about them all, right? But I'll take this, right? Where is this file, Paul? Where the heck did you get this? I do that all the time. Typically, it's in my downloads folder or somewhere. But if you right-click, you can go ahead and go down to Reveal in Finder. Just right-click on that tab, Reveal in Finder. Oh, there it is. And here's all of the files that we're going to work with. You're going to get those tomorrow. But there's my file. I can easily locate it and do all those things, right? So that's the goal. That's typically what I do. You're going to do this a lot. We're going to check the size. So image size. Let's see how big this is. This is a case where I actually just took the original photo and just went with that resolution because I wanted just the maximum resolution for that photo. And I started adding things onto it. So it's actually pretty large, right? We could see the original if I could just open this up for you. Bam, there it is. Here's the original. We went from this to this. Right? It's like, how did you add color to a black and white photo? Well, guess what? Of course you're going to learn that because this is the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge kicking it off this week. I would use neural filters. So you like download, you get a black and white photo, neural filters. Again, this is new. This is where I jump in and say, hey, you know what? Just go ahead and colorize it. Clicking right there, colorizing that photo because I wanted a color version, right? Results may vary, might get you, this here gives me like pretty much 100% there. Like I wanted to mess with it a lot anyways, but that's how I colorized it. That's how I'd take it to the next level by adding lots of curves and different things, okay? Very cool. A lot of times I'll do save for web, and I know like if you're still doing this, you're probably old school like me. Save for web. When I do save for web, I get a preview of it, nice and big, right? And then I can kind of visually change the size to 2,000. Oops, 2,000 pixels width, a 2,000 pixel width, right? And 3,000 high, right? So I actually get the opportunity to see that, oh, it's a JPEG, which is good for photos, okay? And then we can go ahead and save that out. So don't be afraid to use, just because it says legacy, yeah, it's still there for a reason, and still use it, whatever works for you. The other way of exporting things out is quick export as JPEG. That's a new one. As we select that, it's going to export it out. The issue with this one is that when I hit save, right, I don't get, let's cancel that. Let's do 2. I don't get any of those settings. It just is a quick export. It kicks it out. I used save for web because it gave me all those controls. All right, so the welcome stream is a little much, Frank. Good to see you. Hopefully that's okay, right? But I'm trying to get you excited about like what you're gonna learn, sort of taking things from like, you just kind of like blah, like, yeah, this is okay. This is totally fine, but again, here's like a color treated version of a photo to something a little bit more drastic. And what I'm trying to do is kind of show you the control that you have when it comes to what you can do in Photoshop. Same thing here. You mentioned neural galleries. This is all made up of neural gallery filters, right? She kind of looks like a zombie there, right? There's like a zombie filter. But you can see right over here, guess what? Zoop, neural filters, right? And again, it's just layered one on top of the next. I'm not saying it's pretty. It needs work, but we're going to work on this together because our goal is to kind of morph into something awesome. So we want to start out. This is where everybody's at. I feel like I'm very much like, oh, I'm just a little caterpillar, right? And, this is kind of what happens. You go in, you just develop your little cocoon. You're in your little cocoon. You're just like, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? Like, you're just figuring things out. Maybe you're posting stuff, but like before you know it, and, you're going to emerge a beautiful butterfly. How about that? It's a beautiful butterfly, right? But this is kind of how my process goes. Learning. And then I try it, and then I emerge in a beautiful butterfly, right? So again, Just fun stuff, guys. Yeah, the insects, here again, just another metamorphosis, right? We want to grow, not just change, but we want to grow as individuals over the next 2 weeks. And that's the goal. So you can see how this is all put together as well. I could go on and on, but what I want to do is I actually want to show you once you've exported out something. So I've exported out. Let's close down this other stuff. Right, we've made some cool images. We had a good time. Right, here's one, and sure enough, actually, you know what? I'm going to do this other image because it's more appropriate for what we're dealing with. Right. Let's change this to grow. We'll just call this grow just for fun, right? We'll do save for web. Here it is. It's pretty large. Be mindful. The reason I'm going in here and changing this to maybe 1800 is I don't want this to be too big because I'm going to post this to Discord, right? So that's where we're going to continue our conversation even after the stream. Marvelous. Yes, we're all in our larva stage. I'm a butterfly in some stages and then a larva in others, right? Like, you know, you could be both at the same time. So here we are in Discord, by the way. So you can see that if you click on the challenge tab, you're going to have access to Discord. For everybody who's new, let's go there, daily. You think I would have this? Let me just get to the first. Oh, well, we'll go behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. So that's where I usually go to. There we are. There we go. Boom. Here we are. Sure enough, here's community chat. So that's how you get to it. So click on the challenge tab, go to the community chat. That's where you're going to get access to this. As you can see right here, we could scroll down. We can see the current challenge, which really hasn't started yet, but you'll see previous challenges. Just open up your, just drag your image in here. Here's what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks. Growth. That's the idea, right? Doesn't matter how little or how big, the whole idea is to grow. And that's where you're going to post your work. We'll review it as well, but that's the short of it, okay? Current challenge, that's where it goes. You'll see the creative challenge right here, okay? So that's where we start, where you can kind of get a quick view of the current challenge, which you're currently watching, right? So creative challenge, here we are. And then current challenge is where you'll post your work. Cool. All right, just checking to see if you guys have any questions, because I am here for you. Don't you guys feel like wintertime is very much like your cocoon time? Like, you kind of just, like, cocoon down. Especially now, everybody's like in their little cocoon, and I just think there's going to be a day where we're all going to come together, and it's going to be awesome. And we can reveal all our colors and everything that we've learned during this time. Okay, so next up, Larvalicious. We will go to your Behance profile, because feel free to, on Behance, create a project. Bam, right there. Go ahead, create a project. And this is what I would do, is I would add some text, Photoshop, daily, creative, challenge. Take that, select that text. We will make this a header, just like that. We'll center it like so, and there we have it. And this is where we'll start. I'd probably add another one that says daily creative challenge with Tranny in December 2020. Here, you know, below are the works. Are the pieces that I made each day for 9 days, because that's how long this is going to go. You get the idea, right? And that's where you drop in your artwork. So right in here, here it is, rainbow melt. I don't know why it's called that. What I usually do with my naming is the first thing that comes to mind, that's what I name it. It's like, hey, a rainbow melt, why not? See, it's uploaded it right there. And then you start to add them all right in here. Just keep adding them. By the way, as you do this, since you're only doing one a day, just save this as a draft, right? I don't want to publish this out right away, but just save it as a draft, and you'll be good to go there. So yes, to answer your, thank you so much. Looks like that has been already answered. This is your Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. It's going to go over the course of 10 days. As you can see right in here, you'll get these tomorrow morning. But we're going to start out with photo editing. We'll deal with selections, right, that you saw a second ago. And I love that you guys are getting these images. So I scoured the internet. Some are my photos, but basically you're getting some royalty-free images that you can work with. So that's the goal. Colorizing, right? We'll get into making brushes. Distorting graphics. Oh yeah. Liquefying. Using lots of line work too. So I think this will be fun to make cool glowing lines, as you can see, right? Getting into some things that you could do with symmetry, working on a portrait as well. So the end is hopefully just a nice portrait image of yourself. But again, we want to see growth through all these. You guys get the idea. How's everybody doing? Am I going too fast? Huh, Chanel? Or is it Shell? I'm sorry, Shell? Is that right? Awesome. Brushes are very powerful. I will give you one tip for these brushes. And this is, again, just my chance to give you some sneak peeks, which is awesome. Right? You'll open this up and you're like, Paul, why is everything facing to the right? Well, that's typically how I'll do things. I'll come in here, I'll grab, say, this lovely bug, selecting it like that. I want to turn it into a brush. We'll go Edit, Define, Brush Preset. Boom. Right? So we'll just call it whatever. And here's my current brush. Deselect, New Layer, ba, ba, ba. So there it is. It's actually, my flow is set to 19%. But here's my bug, right? Not very versatile so far, right? But we have more control when it comes to brushes. You can see my sample brush right here. We want to go into the brush settings. Right, for this brush, I want to space this out. And this is what I like to do. Go into the shape dynamics. Change the control to direction, right? For this lovely little bug. Now click, if I drag down or up, like look, I get a whole trail of bugs, right? So this is how I like to work out things. So if I'm doing some metamorphosis, I can click, 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 you know, maybe they're traveling up, down, you get the idea. All done with brushes and just a quick example, as you can see, right? We can make one larger. And we could also rotate the brush too. So right up here at the top, I could rotate it. I could rotate this almost 90 degrees. Let's do positive 90 degrees. Now it's straight up and down. And now I have one that's just kind of standing up, right? So yeah, I just made a bunch of bugs, a bunch of branches, a bunch of fun things for you that you will get throughout the next 2 weeks. And it is going to be a lot of fun, might I add. And that's what you'll get, again, out of this, right? All right, let's go into, yeah, I don't want to get into too much more. But, again, I guess this will be my last little tip. Super fun stuff that you're going to learn. I know this looks very complex, but I love the updated sort of live shapes. These were static and were not very, you couldn't work with them very easily. But let's go to the polygon, for instance, right? Let's turn off everything else. And let's go to the properties panel. I'll draw out this polygon, right? Looks innocent enough. Well, guess what? Let's get rid of the fill. Let's add a line. Let's make this not a polygon, right? Let's make it let's make it thicker, but let's make it an octagon or whatever else, controlling the sides and turning this into, say for instance, a star. So what you think is a polygon actually becomes a star. Feels like Illustrator, doesn't it? It's like, oh, I want these Illustrator controls, which are so nice. So many cool things you could do. Hey, you want to round it? You could round it as well. And now we have an even more interesting shape. Again, you don't have to open up Illustrator just to make this one shape, just to paste it in, right? You could do it all in Photoshop now, which is awesome. So that's just a sneak peek, everyone. Join me tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. Whoa, I got lots of crazy things going on here. There we have it. All right, good one. Ha, Robzilla with the jokes. Paulie gone. All right, well, I'll let you guys go. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of this and are hopefully inspired. A lot of times I want to see all the pieces in one nice view. So I'll close this one because that one doesn't have anything in it, but we will go to Window. Uh-oh, something's slowing down here. It's telling me, Photoshop's like, Paul, you're doing too much. Slow down. But I'll typically go in here. I'll go to Arrange, and I'll match zoom. I'll match zoom and location and everything. And that does a better job of kind of fitting everything into one view, just to give you an idea of what you have in store. Just a sample. It's not as chaotic as this. A lot of it makes more sense, and there's more than just what is here. So, yeah, Chad, we will be in touch. I know I need to call you. So, by the way, we'll also do some things on the iPad as well. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. Stay tuned, because I'm going to leave you actually with the schedule. So join me tomorrow. We have Jonah Loeb. I love Jonah. Such a good guy. He's up next. So hang out with him. I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.